Hello and welcome to the Printess Academy. My name is Axel, and today I will give you a quick overview of the features panel here on the right hand side. There will be separate videos available for each single tab where they will be explained in more detail, but for today I will just give you an idea about the main features. It starts with the document settings tab here on top. As long as there's no frame selected, or even like in our case, no frame placed at all, you will find the document settings here to choose different formats. You can even type in your own values to say it should be, let's say, 25 centimeters by maybe 40 something. You can type in a different unit here, or you can switch the units even here to select from that drop-down menu. Or you can switch orientation from portrait to landscape. If I now drop an image frame and it is selected, the document settings are here replaced at the ruler's icon by the frame settings. If we want to place an image within that frame, we should upload some images first. Okay, and as long as a frame is selected, I can choose one of these images from here. The next tab I would like to talk about is the Shapes tab. Here I can select the shape to place it on the page. I can change the color here and define a corner radius, for example. And I can even edit the paths within Printess. If I click on that icon here, it will open the path editor. And before it will show me a hint that I can copy and paste objects from Illustrator to edit them directly here using the path editor. If you check that box, this hint won't be shown again. Now we are in the path editor. And here, like you know it from other solutions, I can now edit the path. To leave the editing mode, you just have to close the path editor. If you have a frame selected while you're adding a shape, so let's say that image frame is activated, and I now would like to add a shape, Printess is asking me if I would like to add that feature to the selected activated image frame, or if I would like to create a separate one. So if I go for create frame, it will be the same behavior like before. But if we do it again, to choose add feature, the shape is masking the image frame. Let's add a text frame next. There are different kinds of text frames available. I will go for a single line text to get a separate frame created for it. And like the name says, it always stays single line. And if I add more characters, it will automatically scale down the font size. This is why it's always used for headlines. You can define a maximum number of characters the buyer can put in. And if I allow the buyer to change the content, we can give it a try at the buyer side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's it. More than 20 characters not allowed. For body text, you can add so-called multi-line text frames. You can activate the edit mode here at the designer side if you click on that pencil icon, so that you can change, let's say, the font size, for example, and the content, of course, and any other setting. And also this frame is editable for the buyer if you set it to content. You do have an inline editing for the buyer available here. You can easily work with QR codes because at the end of the day, they're also just text frames. Let me make it a bit smaller. Yeah, and let's move it here underneath the image. And if I type in a web address, for example, you would be even able to scan it from the screen here to be led to our website. Another kind of text frame is a text on pairs frame. So if I add one, by default it comes with a circle, because this always needs, as you can imagine, text on pairs always needs a path. You can change the path now by changing the shape, or again, you can go into the path editor to change the path manually. And of course, you would set the shape color at the end to none, so that the shape itself disappears. Let's talk about the Subdocuments tab next. With Printess, you can place a document into another. This is very helpful for previews, for example. If you're using such subdocuments, they will appear here in that tab to manage them. These subdocuments are also a very powerful feature of Printess, so they deserve their own video tutorial. Let's clean up the page a bit before we start talking about warp filters. I will change the text here a bit as well. Looks much nicer, doesn't it? So with warp filters, frames can be distorted, for example, in perspective. So if I have selected a frame to use a perspective option, I can now just grab a point to move it around until I have achieved the desired perspective. The frame will keep its vector information, the vector lines. It won't be converted into pixels, so that you still are able to put it out on a plotter, for example. Another nice warp filter is the fish. Where is it? Here we go. And we can still add a shape, for example. Then it's much clearer what happens. And if you want to get rid of the shape again, you have to go to the shape tab like we are to press the minus icon here. Same counts, by the way, for the image frame. If I would like to get rid of the shape here, I press the minus icon. And there's one thing I forgot to explain. So let's add a shape again to our text frame. So if I got one of these filters activated here, these small icons below are showing me which frame types got that filter assigned. So again, if I remove here the shape to go back to the filter, only the text frame is left. In addition to the warp filters, we do have pixel effects available within Printess. So let's take another text frame here to go to the Effects tab. And besides the opacity, all the other effects will cause a conversion into pixel data. The most common one for layouting is blur for sure. And I guess most of the other ones are also self-explaining. Last but not least, we have to talk about the buyer side setting tab. And therefore I will clean up the layout a bit again. If no frame is selected, you have some main document settings regarding the buyer side. For example, the minimum DPI you do allow. So in this case, if a buyer is loading up an image lower than 100 DPI, he will get the warning that the resolution of his image is not good enough for printing. We can give it a try. So if I set it very high to, let's say, 400 to select that image frame, I have to allow, first of all, that the buyer can replace it. And we can also set it to mandatory, so that the buyer has to replace it. If you've got many images on different pages of a document filled with placeholder images, you don't want him to order a product still having some of these placeholder images included. So let's go to the buyer side. I can select the frame to upload some images. Okay. And I'm getting the warning here, that exclamation mark. And the text message here is saying that the image quality is very poor. And the other test, let's go back and forwards. If I try to check out right away, I got the message that I have to replace the image first before I can check out my product. You can allow even more settings at the buyer side. For example, you can allow that the buyer can rotate it and delete it and change position. So again, check at the buyer side. We can rotate it, we can scale it now, and we can even remove it. For the text frame, you can allow the content again, which we did already. We can allow changing fonts and colors, for example. By default, it will use the fonts placed in the fonts group buyer fonts and the colors in the buyer colors. So if you have a look here on the left, these are our buyer's color folder and the fonts are empty. So let's load up some fonts first. We have to put them into that folder, buyer's fonts. And if we now select the frame, we can not just edit the text, but we can also change the font and the font color. If we place a shape, again, my favorite one, the heart, we will turn it into green, let's say. And at the buyer side settings, we can again allow a color change, a stroke color change, and defining a stroke width. It is taking the colors from the same group like the fonts are doing. And let's define a stroke first, otherwise it won't be visible that good. And if we now go to the buyer side to select the shape, we can change the stroke color into orange, the fill color into, let's say, red. No, not a good example. Go for blue. And the stroke width. That's it for now. I hope you did enjoy the video and hopefully see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.